Hello and welcome to the latest episode of The Winning Formula, a series by Autosport dedicated to all things strategy in Formula 1. After each Grand Prix, we take a look at the big moments and calls that were pivotal to deciding the race and find out what truly proved to be the winning formula. My name is Luke Smith, I'm here in my hotel room in Turkey after a dramatic race weekend that saw Valtteri Bottas score his first victory in over a year with a dominant display for Mercedes controlling the race to win ahead of Max Verstappen. But it was a more difficult weekend for Mercedes teammate Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton started 11th after an engine penalty, and although he fought his way back up as high as 3rd in the race, he ended up 5th after frustration over Mercedes' strategy, leading to some tense moments on the radio. So why did Mercedes not pit sooner or try to keep Hamilton out all the way to the end? And why were the conditions so hard to predict in Turkey? Light drizzle fell throughout the day at Istanbul Park, meaning all drivers took intermediates for the start of the race to best tackle the damp conditions. Some teams believed the track would dry out within 20 laps, but light rain continued to come down, meaning it was hard for drivers to find a drying line. Most pinned their hopes on running long enough out on track for it to dry down enough so they could use slick tyres, causing them to wear down their own intermediates and create big ball bands on the rubber, also known as slicktermediates. Daniel Ricciardo was the first driver to roll the dice on a fresh set of tyres, coming in at the end of lap 21. He switched to another set of intermediates, figuring he had nothing to lose as he was already out of the points for McLaren. But his initial lap times proved it was not yet the right time to make the switch. Most of the field came in between lap 34 and 39 for a second set of intermediates. The track was nowhere near dry enough for slick tyres, best proved by Sebastian Vettel's brave experiment to fit mediums that lasted a single spin-filled lap before he was forced to come back in again for intermediates. Red Bull hoped to cut the gap to Bottas by pitting Verstappen first on lap 36, but Mercedes reacted one lap later, ensuring the lead remained safe. It meant Bottas stayed in control, and thanks to his pace advantage, he could comfortably pull clear of Verstappen. But not everyone thought it was time to pit, with two notable exceptions being Hamilton and Ferrari's Charles Leclerc. Leclerc now found himself leading after keeping up with Bottas and Verstappen in the opening stint. Ferrari was now aiming to go the whole race without making a pit stop. It was the same tactic Mercedes considered for Hamilton. He was now up to 4th place and told Mercedes over the radio that he did not want to pit as his pace still felt okay. The team agreed to keep him out longer, giving itself more thinking time and the chance to potentially save a pit stop if the track dried out for slicks in the closing stages. The decision would prove to be the huge talking point after the race, but before we get into that, we want to give a shout out to our sponsor for this series, Partypoker, who currently have a special sign-up offer. If you go to the link in the description and open a new account and deposit £10 or more today, Partypoker will match you on deposits up to £400 and give you £40 worth of free play. Naturally, this is only available if you are 18 or over, T&Cs apply, please be gamble aware and play responsibly. Now let's get back to the action and the risky decision to keep Hamilton out to potentially go the whole race without making a pit stop. At first, the pace of the worn intermediates held up well, as those who pitted struggled with graining on their fresh tyres. But their advantage soon returned, allowing Bottas to ease past Leclerc and regain the lead, prompting Ferrari to pit Leclerc on lap 47. By now, Mercedes was growing increasingly anxious of where Hamilton might finish if he did not pit soon. The gap to Perez had stood at 18 seconds initially, but was fading fast as the Mexican driver's pace improved. Mercedes opted to cut its losses and pit Hamilton on lap 50, fearing that going any longer would drop him behind Pierre Gasly. Hamilton rejoined the track in 5th place, much to his annoyance, and struggled with graining that meant he could do nothing to catch the drivers ahead. Mercedes admitted after the race that, with hindsight, it should have pitted Hamilton 10 laps sooner. The advantage of getting the intermediates well worn in was proven by Perez. He came in 10 laps before Leclerc, but was able to breeze past the Ferrari for 3rd place. But could Hamilton have held on to 3rd place had Mercedes not pitted him? The answer, probably, is no. Esteban Ocon was the only driver to run a no-stop strategy, and although it gained him a point, he struggled massively in the closing stages. Ocon lost 18 seconds to Lance Stroll in the space of 5 laps, and was lucky not to be passed by the Alfa Romeos. His tyres were visibly damaged at the end of the race, and he may not have lasted another lap. Hamilton might have been frustrated by Mercedes' decision, yet it probably saved him from losing more ground to Verstappen in the title race, or, at worst, risk a puncture or a DNF that could have been even more costly for his title hopes. The fine margins involved mean calls like this end up being decisive in the title battle, with just 6 points separating Verstappen and Hamilton with 6 races to go. That was the winning formula for the Turkish Grand Prix. Be sure to let us know your thoughts on Mercedes' strategy call in the comments below, and we'll see you again after the next episode after the United States Grand Prix in Texas. Yeehaw!